It is IGCSE Physics, paper code 0625, paper 1, variant 1, May-June 2020. And today we are going to solve question number 21 to 40. From 1 to 20 we have already solved. Now question number 21. The diagram shows a wave. What are the amplitude and the wavelength of this wave? Amplitude is the vertical distance from the mean position to the peak position. So here amplitude is 3 centimeter. What about the wavelength? Wavelength is the distance covered by one complete crest and one complete trough. Here the distance covered by one complete trough is given 4 centimeter. So same distance will also be covered by the crest. So distance covered by the crest is 4 centimeter. Distance covered by the trough is 4 centimeter. So total distance covered by a wave will be equal to 4 plus 4, 8 centimeter. So here amplitude is 3 centimeter and wavelength is 8 centimeter, and same thing is given in the option B, amplitude 3 centimeter, wavelength 8 centimeter. So here correct option is option B. Question number 22. Waves travel more quickly on the surface of water when the water is deep. A stone is dropped at point X into a pool of varying depth. The diagram shows the first three wavefront on the surface of the pool. The region between X and which label point is likely to be the deepest. With the increase in depth, the energy propagation will be more. And when the energy propagation will be more, the wavefront will be bigger. So here with the increase in depth, the wavefront size will be increased. So here for the deepest, the wavefront will be C. Because here in C, the wavefront is the largest. So here with the deepest distance covered by the stone, the wavefront will also be largest, and it is given in option C. So correct option is option C. Question number 23. The diagram shows a beam of light traveling through glass and meeting a glass-air interface. Which row correctly describes what is happening at the glass-air interface? Here, a ray is striking on the surface of the glass. After striking, some of the portion is reflected back in the same medium and some of the portion is refracted in air. Now first we check the option. Angle of incidence at the interface. What is angle of incidence? Angle of incidence is the angle in between the normal. Normal is this imaginary line. The angle in between the normal and the incident ray. Here the angle from the surface to the incident ray is given 60 degree. This imaginary line is at right angle to the plane. So the angle from this imaginary line to the plane is equal to 90 degree. Here the angle between the plane and the incident ray is 60. So the angle in between the incident ray and this normal will be equal to 30 degree. Because total angle is 90, here it is 60. So the remaining angle here is 30 degree. So angle of incidence is 30 degree. Now here in the options, in option A and B it is given 30 degree. So our possible option are A and B. We will not consider C and D. Now the observation, in the observation it is given some internal reflection. In B it is given total internal reflection. When total internal reflection occurs, then there is no refraction. Here some of the light is reflected, some of the light is reflected. So here it is not total internal reflection. Here we can say that we have some internal reflection. So here option A is correct. Angle of incidence is 30 degree and observation is some internal reflection occur. Question number 24. A narrow beam of white light passes through a prism and is dispersed into a spectrum. Which row is correct? When a white light is passed through a prism, it is dispersed. The deflection will be most where the frequency is most. The deflection will be least where the frequency is least. Now here in the visible spectrum we have 7 colors: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. When we move from violet towards the red, wavelength increases, and when we move from red towards the violet, frequency increases. So here we can say the least frequency is in red, so the least deflection will also be in red. First we check the option. Here color 1 is given blue, then yellow, then red in A. In option B, red, blue, yellow, red, yellow, blue. Okay. In all the options, we have 3 colors: red, yellow, and blue. So here red will be deflected least. Here number 1 is deflected least. Since here number 1 is deflected least, so definitely it should be red because the frequency of the red is least. Now, which one is number 2? Now when we are moving from red towards the violet, frequency is increasing. Now after red, the second color should be yellow. Here we are looking when we are moving from red towards the violet. After red there is orange, After orange there is yellow. So here number 2 should be yellow. After that we have green, then blue. So here this number 3 should be blue. So here correct option is option C, red, yellow and blue. Okay, we consider some other option. In option A, it is given blue. Color 1 is given blue. If color 1 is blue, then this 2 and 3 should be below blue. It cannot be above blue. Here in color 2, it is given yellow. Yellow is above blue, so this option is incorrect. In option B, color 1 is given red. Okay, it is correct that red has least frequency, so deflection will be least here. So number 1 is red. Now the second is given blue. Second is blue. Blue is below red and frequency is increasing when we are moving from red towards blue. So this point, up to this point, it is okay. It is correct. For the color 3, it is given yellow. Now yellow is above blue. Since yellow is above blue, so yellow cannot be number 3. It cannot be deflected more than this number 2. So this option is incorrect. In the same manner, if you will check this option D, you will find that this option is also incorrect. So here correct option is option C. Question number 25. An intruder alarm sensor detects that a person is warmer than his surrounding. Which type of electromagnetic wave does the sensor detect? Here the sensor detects infrared radiation. Here it is given it detects a person is warmer. All the objects emits infrared radiation, but this radiation is different for all the objects. So because of the difference in the infrared emitted by the object, the sensor detects this one and the alarm start to work. So here correct option is option A. Question number 26. The graph shows the displacement of particle in sound wave from three sources X, Y and Z. The scales on the graph are all identical. Here the graph is plotted in between time and displacement. Same thing is here. Same thing is also in source Z. Which source are producing sound wave with the same pitch? Pitch depends on frequency. What is frequency? Frequency is number of cycles per second. Number of waves per second. Here in option A, source A, here in source X, source Y and source Z, we are looking that in source X, the wavelength is more as compared to source Y or as compared to source Z. Whereas we are looking that the wavelength is same as in Y and in Z. Here we are looking from this point to this point, the distance it is called wavelength, and here the same distance is shown here. So wavelength in Y and Z are same and X is different. Now wavelength and frequency has a relation that wavelength and frequency are reciprocal to each other. With the increase in wavelength, frequency decreases, or we can say with the decrease in wavelength, frequency increases. Since in these two cases wavelength is same, so we can say here frequency will also be same. And since the frequency is same in both the cases, so here the pitch will also be same in source Y and source Z. And same thing is given in option B. Same pitch is in Y and Z. So our correct option is option B. Question number 27. A permanent magnet is to be made. Which rule gives the correct material to use and the correct reason for choosing this material? Okay, to make a permanent magnet, we use steel, and for temporary magnet or a electromagnet, we use soft iron. Here we have to use a permanent magnet, so we have to use steel here. Steel is given in option C and D, so our possible options are C and D. What is the reason for using steel? It is very difficult to demagnetize steel. So here in option D, it is given hard to demagnetize. So this option is correct. For permanent magnet, we have to use steel, and the reason is it is difficult to demagnetize the steel. That's why we use steel to make a permanent magnet. Question number 28. Four nails A, B, C and D are tested to find which makes the strongest permanent magnet. One of the nails is placed against a bar magnet and the number of paper clips which the nail can support is recorded. Here we have a bar magnet and this nail is placed near this bar magnet. Since the nail is a magnetic material, so it will be attached with the bar magnet, and some of the paper clips are attached to this nail. The bar magnet is then removed. This bar magnet is then removed and the number of paper clips remaining attached to the nail is recorded. Each nail is tested individually. Which nail becomes the strongest permanent magnet? Okay, when we attach a nail with this bar magnet, this magnetic property is induced in nail. The magnetic property is also induced in the nail and this nail also becomes a permanent magnet. Now, if it is become a permanent magnet, we have to find out where is the strongest one. The strongest nail will be that nail that can support the maximum paper clips after removing this bar magnet. Now we check the option. Here we have two columns. In the first column it is given bar magnet present. In the second column it is given bar magnet removed. And here on the top it is given number of paper clips attached to the nail. The number of the paper clips attached to the nail after removing the bar magnet. It is given here 3, where the number of clips is maximum after removing the bar magnet. That magnet will be the strongest magnet. So here it is given 3, that 3 clips are still attached with the nail, and it is the maximum quantity of the clip that is attached to the nail. So our correct option is option C. Here this one is the strongest magnet. Question number 29. Three statements about electric charge are given. Number 1. An ammeter directly measures how much electric charge is in an object. An ammeter just measures the flow of electrical charges, but it cannot tell how much charges are present in an object. So this point is incorrect. Point 2. A moving electric charge can be detected by an ammeter. Yes, it is the correct point. An ammeter detects the flow of electrical charges. So this point 2 is correct. Point 3. A flow of electric charge is an electric current. Yes, it is also correct. Electrical current is defined as rate of flow of electrical charges. So here point 2 and point 3 are correct. Point 2 and point 3 only is given in option C. So here correct option is option C. Question number 30. Each of the four diagrams M, N, O and P shows a separate pair of insulating rod. Each rod is charged as shown. Here we have two rods, both are negatively charged. Here in this diagram, here is no charge, here is positive charge. In O, here is positive, it is negative. In P, it is positive and this one is also positive. In which two arrangement do the pairs of rod experience a force of repulsion? Same charges repel, opposite charges attract. Here we have same charges, negative charge. So in diagram M, it will repel. Here in this rod, we are looking, we have no charge, here positive charge. So here there will be neither attraction nor repulsion. In O, we have positive charge, here negative charge. So here it is attraction. In P, here positive, same charges, like charges. So here repulsion. So repulsion is in M and in P. M and P is given in option C. So here correct option is option C. Question number 31. A student uses the circuit shown to determine the resistance of two identical resistors. The voltmeter reading is 2.2 volt and the ammeter reading is 0.25 ampere. What is the resistance of each resistor? According to Ohm's law, V is equal to IR. So by using this formula, we have calculated the total resistance of the circuit. Total resistance of the circuit is 8.8 ohm. Now for the combination of these two resistances, the total resistance is 8 ohm. Here it is given the resistance of two identical resistors. Here these two resistors are identical, means the resistance in these two resistors are same. Since total resistance here is 8.8, so in each resistor it will be half of 8.8, means 4.4. So in each resistor the resistance is 4.4 ohm, that is given in option C. So correct option is option C. Question number 32. In the circuit shown, A1 and A2 are ammeters. Switch S is closed. Which row is correct? When the resistors are connected in parallel, then the resistance is decreased. When the resistors are connected in series, then the total resistance increases. Since here, with the closing of the switch, these two resistors come in parallel, so here the resistance, total resistance will be decreased. In option A and B, it is given the resistance of the whole circuit decreases. So our possible option are A and B. In C and D, it is given increases. It will not increase. If it is a series circuit, then it will be increased. So here it is a parallel circuit. Here it will not increase. Here it will be decreased. So our possible options are A and B. Now what happened to the current when the resistance will be decreased? We have studied that V is equal to IR. V is equal to IR means when the resistance will be decreased, voltage of the battery, EMF of the battery is constant, V is constant, resistance is decreased, so current will be increased. In the previous question, here we have checked that V is equal to IR. EMF is constant, so with the decrease in resistance, current will be increased. So here, when this switch is closed, resistance decreases and this current A1 and A2, these current will be increased. Now we will check the option. In option B, it is given reading of A1 increases, reading of A2 increases. It means that the current flowing in the circuit increases with the decrease in resistance. So here correct option is option B. Question number 33. What happens to the resistance of an LDR when the brightness of the light falling on it increases? With the increase in brightness, resistance decreases and current increases. Here in the option A, it is given its resistance decreases, so it is our correct option. Question number 34. A student constructs four circuits, each containing a fuse. The fuse blows in one circuit and both lamps in the circuit go out. In which circuit does the fuse blow and both lamps go out? Here in option A, we have two lamps and these two lamps are connected in parallel with the fuse. If this fuse blows out, then there will be no effect on these two lamps because these are connected in parallel. The circuit is still complete from the battery. Current will flow from the battery in this lamp and also in this lamp. So with the blow of the fuse, there will be no effect on these two lamps. In B, if this fuse blows out, then there is no path, there is no flow of electrical current in this lamp. So this lamp will be switched off, but this lamp will not go out. So here only one lamp will go out, second lamp will not go out. In C, same thing as B. After blown out of this fuse, the circuitry is broken for this lamp. So this lamp will go out, but this lamp will remain working. In option D, the fuse is connected here. When this fuse is blown out, the circuitry, the flow of electrical current for this lamp and also for this lamp will be broken. So both the lamp will go out, both the lamp will be switched off. So here our correct option is option D. Question number 35. A transformer has 200 turns on its primary coil and is connected to a 240 volt AC supply. The output voltage of the transformer is 60 volt AC. How many turns are on the secondary coil of the transformer? In the topic of transformer, we have studied a relation in between the voltage and the number of turns. That output voltage over input voltage is equal to number of turns in the secondary divided by number of turns in the primary. Now here a transformer has 200 turns on its primary, means N1 number of turns on the primary is 200. So here N1 is equal to 200 is on its primary and is connected to a 240 volt AC supply. This one is connected to a 240 volt AC supply. So here the primary voltage or V1 is equal to 240. The output voltage of the transformer is 60 volt AC. Output voltage means V2. V2 is 60. So here V2 60, V1 240 and N1 is 200. How many turns are on the secondary coil of the primary? We have to find out the number of turns in the secondary coil. Now number of turns in the secondary coil is given as N2. By solving this equation, we will get N2 is equal to 50. 50 is given in option B. So here correct option is option B. Question number 36. A conducting wire is placed between the poles of a magnet. When an electric current in the wire is in the direction shown, then the force on the wire acts out of the page. Three statements of different conditions and how the wire is affected are given. Number 1. The current is towards the top of the page and the direction of the magnetic field is unchanged. Then the force produced acts into the page. Direction of the force we can change either by changing the direction of the current in the wire or by changing the direction of the magnetic lines of force. Now here it is given in the point 1, the current is towards the top. Before the current was in the towards the bottom. Here it is shown current is towards the bottom. When the current was towards the bottom, the force was out of the page. Now the direction of the current is reversed. Now the direction of the current is to the top. So the direction of the force will be into the page. Before it was out of the page, now it will be into the page. So this point is correct. When the direction of the current in the wire is towards the top, means when the direction of the current is reversed, the direction of the force is also reversed. Now number 2, the current is towards the bottom. Now the direction of the current is same as before. Direction of the current is not changed and the magnetic field is reversed. As discussed before that we can change the direction of the force by changing the direction of the current or by changing the direction of the magnetic field. Here we have reversed the magnetic field, so again the force will also be in reverse direction. Before the force was out of the page, again the force will be into the page. The same thing is given here, that and the magnetic field is reversed, then the force produced acts into the page. So this point is also correct. Point 3. The current in the wire is alternating and the wire vibrates into and out of the page. Here we are using alternating current. Alternating current means we have half cycle positive and half cycle negative. When the direction of the current will be changed from positive to negative, the direction of the force will also be changed. So this point is also correct. The current in the wire is alternating, means positive and negative, and the wire vibrates into and out of the page. If into the page is before of the positive current, then out of the page will be because of the negative current. So this point is also correct. So here point 1, point 2, point 3, all the 3 points are correct and it is given in option D. So option D is the correct option. Question number 37. A nuclide of the element iron has the symbol shown. This Fe has 26 proton number and 56 nucleon number. What does a neutral atom of this nuclide contain? This proton number means number of proton or number of electron. Means this iron has 26 electron and also 26 proton. 26 electron and 26 proton is given in option A only. So here correct option is option A. What about the neutron? Neutron is the difference of atomic number and mass number. Here atomic number is 26, mass number is 56. So the difference will be number of neutron. When we subtract this 26 from 56, we will get 30. So number of neutron is 30, that is given in option A. So proton is 26, neutron is 30, electron is 26. So correct option is option A. Question number 38. What is the nucleon number of a nuclide? Nucleon number means sum of proton and neutron. And same thing is given in the option D. The number of proton plus the number of neutron in the nucleus is called nucleon number. So this option D is the correct option. Question number 39. A thin sheet of paper is placed between a radioactive source and a radiation detector. The count rate falls to a very low reading. From this result, which type of radiation is the source emitting? We have three types of radiations: alpha, beta and gamma. Out of alpha, beta and gamma, alpha can be stopped just by a piece of paper. So here it is given that by the piece of paper most of the radiations are stopped. So here the most possibility of the radioactive particle or the radioactive radiation is alpha particle. Now alpha particle is given in the option A, so correct option is option A. Question number 40. In 1986, the Chernobyl nuclear power station in Ukraine suffered a meltdown. This caused background radiation in many countries thousands of kilometers from Chernobyl to increase. What was transported in the atmosphere to these countries to cause this rise in background radiation? Definitely radioactive substances are emitted out from the Chernobyl. So here our correct option is option D, radioactive isotope. Here in option A, option B and option C it is given alpha, beta and gamma. Alpha, beta, gamma are radioactive rays. When a radioactive isotope disintegrates, all these three rays can be emitted out from the radioactive substance. Now we have completed up to question number 40. Today we have completed this paper 1 variant 1 May June 20. Thank you very much.